So grateful to be here and very happy to discuss these incredibly important and hard to talk about topics. He has an incredible backbone and staggering moral fiber. Howie is totally committed, completely ethical, totally admirable. No pressure if you can hear this, but honestly, Howie's a hero to me.
John, you joined us before, and it was a pretty incredible kind of testimony you gave, and you just devoted your life to advocacy for child trafficking, and even 9/11 truth. Maybe you could explain to us, in the last decade, what do you think the most challenging parts of coming alive on some of these issues have been?
Probably the hardest thing, and it continues, is just realizing that pretty much everything that I was told and taught since I was in grade school is probably not true. And hello, good evening, and welcome to the Traffic Report. The phone lines are open. If you want to call us tonight, it's area code 914-224-5723. Oh, no, Howie, that's not it. That's Hillary's home number in Chappaqua, New York. How did that get on there?
I have no idea.
Honest mistake.
Catherine, did you do that?
I didn't. I'm sure it wasn't me.
Okay, well, we'll do a correction. That is not the Traffic Report's phone line.
And if it was me, every evidence of it has been scrubbed with my eraser. So,
just in case that's a federal crime, I was going to give the wrong digit the last number, but I just couldn't do it. So wow. Good evening. Welcome.
There's a boatload they're going to have to go after.
Phones are ringing all across the United States, I believe.
Wiener laptop has been released, or the phone numbers from the Wiener laptop.
And I'm worried. And it's also midnight in Appalachia. So and I think, I'm worried about it being a federal crime to give out Hillary's number. Well, it's already been given out, but it should be a federal crime to be in Wiener's laptop, don't you think? No? Is that just me?
Well, I don't know.
What do you think, Howie? I know you've already called that number, so what?
You don't want to know what I think right now.
Yeah, we're all a little pissed off, and I want to thank Anthony Weiner for the light. If you're listening from federal prison, I just want to thank you for the little uplift that you gave us just before the show, because we were covering.
Do they carry us in federal prison?
Well, they have internet, I guess. So thank you, Anthony. And
my God.
that folder you marked insurance is really. I don't think this was in that folder, but that's the one we're interested in. And what I thought
Please forward it.
Yeah, it was life insurance. It was labeled the life insurance folder.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the way my mind works, as soon as I saw this, well, I woke up for one, and the second thing I did was think, can the videos and all the child rape evidence be far behind it? It sounds like either an NYPD employee or an FBI agent that's had enough of this bullshit has stepped up, and here we have Anthony's phone book, and please have at it. We've tweeted it out on both Traffic Report accounts. I tweeted it on my personal account. I emailed it to Phil McConnell. So phones should be ringing all over the United States this evening.
I have a lot of catching up to do. I've been a little bit busy the last few days, and once again we're at a point in time where the information and what is being released and things that are going down, it's like, I mean, it's a 24/7. Yeah.
I know you haven't had time to go over the list, but I'm pretty sure I saw George Soros's cell phone on there.
Yeah. Well,
I wanted to ask him, how's that New World Order thing going for you?
Yeah, and it's got to be a pretty complicated process for them to like just change their phone number.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I mean, you think about how many hundreds of contacts and quote unquote important people are in there. It's not like they're just going to like change their number and it's like they're post it.
But don't worry, Hillary.
Come
George,
on now.
Don't worry, nobody will call.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is great. It's a good start. Let's just put it that way. I want the contents of the life insurance folder. That would be absolutely.
Well, I was going to say, John, I don't think that the videos with Hillary and a child, they'll never be released. I don't think so.
No. And believe me, I don't want to see them, but I would love, and I'm sure they could actually do that. They could probably. I know WikiLeaks could do it, or I know there's a lot of other people, probably people who listen to our show, could get just enough of that video to, get it out there and identify who's in it.
But we've said it from all along, John. Even before you and I met, it's you can't unwind this in a year or 2 years, and things have to somewhat come out. If they released everything at once, all the secrets to the how the world is run, nobody would be able to process it. So I think the way things are going, not a week goes by without something important dropping. And the people that are not paying attention to what's going on in this world. I mean, we went through a period of Charlie Rose and Matt Lauer, and I mean who's the other guy, Tavis. Yeah. Sitting senator.
Yeah. And apparently nobody is fucking listening, because the information we were just going through today. Why are the Olympics even being held? Why are there parents in the United States that have their children with U.S.A. Gymnastics, with U.S.A. Swimming, U.S.A. Figure Skating? Apparently somebody ain't listening, or a lot of people aren't listening.
Yeah, we just on a whim, we know that this is going on, and John's been with the Winter Olympics coming up, and it's like, okay, let's find, gymnastics. Obviously, girls at a very young age are getting involved in this. Obviously, girls are being sexually abused or being raped, all in all levels of gymnastics. Now to the highest level. So we're like, well, let's start, poking around and seeing, hey, has anything else, what else do we see in other sports? Because once again, what the media has done, okay, now the Larry Nassar thing has been out there. When did the Indy Star article come out? I want to say over in 2016. Right. I can look up. But and it's been out there. Now all of a sudden, after and everyone's and that's Indianapolis Star, and they did just a fantastic job. But where were the CNNs and the even Fox? I mean, Washington, the heavy hitters, Newsweek. Where were they? They were nowhere. But now that the guy, after the guy actually gets to court and everything comes, people start talking. Now everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon. Well, now you're basically reporting after the fact, and they're keeping all the, for the most part, keeping all the attention on Larry Nassar when the story once again is much bigger. And if it's happening in gymnastics, why well, wait a second. Well, if it's happening in gymnastics, hey, is it happening anywhere else? And it has been reported, and we're going to talk about other sports. And it's, we're probably start with swimming because, I mean,
what a great article that was. And
let me throw this out there. We would not be having this conversation if it weren't for President Trump, because Larry Nassar would not have happened if it weren't for President Trump, and they wouldn't have gone public with the trial and with what the judge had to say, and the judge allowing so many survivors and victims to come forth and give their victim impact statements. Yeah. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think, without a change at the helm, without that executive order, both of those executive orders, the Larry Nassar story is a local story. I don't think
the FBI being purged.
Yes, but I totally agree, and credit where credit's due.
And that's why I'm saying that people cannot, if they're not paying attention to what's going on in society in general, the people that are going down, the things that are being exposed, and it's in our world. Yeah, it's slow. It's dribs and drabs. But, compared to the past 20 years.
How about 6 months ago? Mm-hmm. I mean, my God. Okay, Howie, we're doing this 6 months ago. And I say to you, guess what? We're going to have the contents of Anthony Weiner's phone book. What would you have said to me?
I never thought it would come.
What are you, nuts? I'm
thinking something right. It's like there, that. And, I mean, Neil after the March 25th rally, his second course of action, he went to New York and stood outside New York City Police Headquarters with his bullhorn and demanded the release of Anthony Weiner's laptop. That was in early April. That was before
bless him.
Yeah, that was even before I got to know him real well, and I was going to go up and do it, and I'm like, I'm not standing outside, and he's that kind of guy, and
outside the New York City Police Department.
Yeah. Neil went up. Yeah, Neil went up.
Yeah.
Holy.
Wasn't Kathy there too? Kathy McCauley wasn't she there with you?
I'm not sure. There were a lot of people.
No, she was. You know.
I watched it live. I watched it live on Periscope, and a lot of people didn't show up. And it was a Friday. It was a cold, kind of a drab kind of day. And the New York City Police Department had they had this courtyard, and he stood there with the bullhorn. He got all the everything. Was told what they told.
I think Kathy went, but it might have been to another thing that was going on down there, but I'm pretty sure she went to NYPD.
So, but I'm thinking like they're not releasing this stuff. We're never gonna.
Well, you know what? They didn't, but somebody did.
Well, they released phone numbers. I don't really know what the purpose of releasing the phone numbers was, unless it is just kind of like a teaser or a precursor to releasing other things from the laptop. But
and I hope that's what it is. But regardless, looking at that list of who this scumbag is, talking to and has their home and their cell.
There's 603. That's what they report.
That's the
603 politicians and media personalities.
Did you see? Oh, David Brock, all his information's. David Brock, the lover of James Alefantis, owner of Comet Pizza, all his information is in Weiner's. I think he's got 4 or 5, 6 contact numbers for David. Now, what is a Democratic guy whose wife is Hillary's left arm doing with David Brock's number? Isn't he a Republican So, okay, people, wake up. The Democrat-Republican thing is a joke. It doesn't exist, And if you think, Anthony Weiner is has David Brock's phone number because those two parties are diametrically opposed, you're out of your mind. They're just they work hand in hand.
Well, David Brock is Media Matters, and Media Matters is very left.
No,
yeah,
he
at one point he was right, and he just switched over. He's a mercenary.
Yeah,
do you
know? Got it.
Catherine, do you know that Media Matters is actually a 50? I don't know if it's a 501c3, but it is a nonprofit.
Yeah. What?
What?
It is a non-profit. They pay no tax on their income. David Brock makes. I can release. Oh yeah, you can go right on Charity Navigator. Media Matters for America. 50. I'll do it right now.
Follow.
And
the
I
money.
was like,
follow the
how
money.
were they?
So there go your tax dollars, folks.
Yeah, they are. They are an independent, nonprofit. Just whatever they do. Who is granting? Who in the what? I don't know who does that. Is granting? It matters.
IRS.
Well, to be fair, there are Republican groups that are the same, because there was the one lady in Texas.
Of course there are.
She had a Republican, I don't remember what the name of it was, but she was one of the ones targeted by the IRS. Big time. And
just people need to know that the party system is a psyop, okay? The only reason things are changing now is because Donald Trump, he ran as a Republican because there was no other way to get elected. But he's not a part of that. He's an outsider. He's not in the whole, Democratic, Republican, they're different, they're left and they're right. It's all horseshit. It's a psyop. There are people who, have some, it's all the labels. Okay, well, conservative values, they're not conservative, that's a divide and conquer strategy. Okay. And all the people that are labeled as liberals or progressive, that's just another, if they can label us and split us apart, that's what they do. And it's not about, and George Webb said this best, it's not about right and left, it's about right and wrong.
Well, how does this work when Carter Page is an undercover FBI and goes to work for Trump? How does that work? He's FBI and he goes to work for Donald Trump.
Whatever the corruption is affecting, and it affects everything, and that's, we've seen that over and over and over again. That's why the trafficking exists. That's why people are out right now talking about CIA trafficking children, talking about there's the guy's name, but Trish and Albert Bashai, Trish Negron, they have this guy, and he has confirmed, and a guy who's a CIA agent has confirmed everything that this guy has brought out, and it's a trafficking ring that runs out of the state of Florida. The Attorney General Pam Bondi is part of it, and our Vice President is also associated with this. So you just that's how the system's set up. We don't know who's working for who's doing what, and that's what Trump's up against, and thank God he's surrounded by Marines, and they're not, they're smarter than the political, they're not going to get caught up in that. They know what the Constitution is. They know the oath that they took, and it's not about political parties for them, and so, and it'll all come out in the wash, as my little Scottish mother used to tell me, but yeah, it's it's beyond confusing. No wonder people can't follow it. That's how it's set up. You're not supposed to be able to figure out, who's working for who and what their motivations are, and what better way to keep us, running around in circles. So.
All right, can I tell you what Charity Navigator says about Media Matters? Can I do this real quick? Sure. Media Matters for America is a web-based progressive research and information center dedicated to comprehensively monitoring, analyzing, and correcting conservative misinformation in the U.S. media. Launched in May 2004, Media Matters put in place for the first time the means to systematically monitor a cross-section of print, broadcast, cable, radio, and internet media outlets for conservative misinformation, news or commentary that is not accurate, reliable, or credible, and that forwards the conservative agenda every day in real time. Media Matters posts rapid response items, as well as longer research and analytical reports documenting conservative misinformation throughout the media. Additionally, Media Matters works daily to notify activists, journalists, pundits, and the general public about instances of misinformation, providing them with the resources to rebut false claims and to take direct action against offending media institutions. So they are working for the good of conservative misinformation. That's what they do.
So What you're saying is they are Snopes' brother company.
Yes, and they pay no taxes. David Brock makes $300,000 a year from that.
That's nothing compared to the money that they.
Well, no, I'm just saying, just from that, he makes $300,000. That's all.
And this is this conservative liberal label bullshit. David Brock, former conservative, and just one day he turned hard left Democrat. Wake up, people. This is power.
How right was he before he flipped? I'd like to know about that. I might even investigate myself.
Well, who knows?
I want to know how hard right he was.
I don't want to make a show.
Okay,
I don't want to make a show about David
Brock. We're digressing. Yeah. And his buddy Jimmy Elephantis, Pizzagate, Comet Pizza. We'll
that's just
we'll get to them. But yeah.
All right.
So that article,
a not so subtle segue.
I've been reading these articles all day, and as you are, Howie, just getting madder by the minute. And I just want to get this. This first one was really something, and it's from OutsideOnline.com. That's and all these we've tweeted some of these out. They'll be in the show notes, but OutsideOnline.com.
Yeah, this one. This
called
one
Unprotected. I just want to read this. Okay, the first little part. Rachel Sturtz is the person that apparently wrote this article, and it's called Unprotected. And I just want to read the first little part of it, and you can change. Let me just read it, and then I'll. There's a horror in the shadows of American competitive swimming. Okay, so you can change that. Swimming, gymnastics, figure skating, any Olympic sport where children are involved. So that's interchangeable. A continuing legacy of sexual abuse, usually involving male coaches who prey on young women, and a governing body that looks the other way. That's U.S.A. Gymnastics, that's U.S.A. Swimming, that's the International Olympic Committee, and for a year, the FBI in this country. So go on, Hal. I just wanted to read that. This is your article.
That's fine. I mean, we started looking at different sports, and this article about swimming popped up, and I want to let me pull up the article because
doing it, Howard, I'm going to throw this in there because we're kind of building a case against these people. I found this, and this was actually from today Yahoo Sports. A former president for U.S.A. Gymnastics said current Notre Dame athletic director Jack Swarbrick tried to dissuade the sanctioning body from distributing a 12-page booklet titled child abuse in youth sports. He did not want a 12-page booklet titled Child Abuse in Youth Sports released. I don't know what was in that booklet, but I mean,
maybe some of the children that they're raping would have read that and come forward. So I guess Jack didn't want that getting out, or parents to read that. My God.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously doesn't want to be proactive in protecting children, and that's where we have to get is proactive and not reactive. And right now it's reactive because everything is coming out. So
and I'd go a step further, because we've talked about this several shows in a row. Exhibit the appropriate level of outrage, and this whole, and we're gonna do tonight's show, and part 2 is that's on Thursday, because there's no way we're even gonna get close here. But outrage, that's what.
Please, for the love of God,
right? Well, I mean, when you're talking about Jack Swarbrick as a athletic director, he's a lawyer by trade. He's been a member of the Indiana Bar since 1980. These athletic directors, they're just, a lot of them, they don't know anything about athletics. They're there to protect institutions, the image of the institutions. And I was saying, we were talking about before the show that back in 2010, I want to get the article correct. There was a woman. I'll call her a woman. I'll call her a girl. A 19-year-old freshman from Notre Dame's sister college, St. Mary's. Her name was Lizzie Seberg, and Lizzie Seberg was alleged that she was raped by Notre Dame football players. And Jack Swarbrick was the athletic director of Notre Dame at that time. And you can go back and read this. Once again, her name was Lizzie Seberg. And after the University of Notre Dame, what they did to her and made her feel victimized again from the reporting, she committed suicide a few days later after filing the complaint. And apparently they never came out who the football players were. There were suspicions about it, and there's text messages that Lizzie sent confirming that she was raped, and it's a pretty horrific story. And the point being that Jack Swarbrick was the athletic director. He became athletic director in 2008 at Notre Dame. So it seems just a little, and just add another layer to why a person like this, why U.S.A. Gymnastics would want Jack Swarbrick coming on as a consultant, how to handle the sexual abuse of children by Dr. Larry Nassar, especially with this hangover. I mean, this has been out there forever, and and people, no mainstream media never picked up on this.
Kind of like taking that MSU coach on as a consultant. What's her name, Howie? So U.S.A. Gymnastics got a Jesuit, probably, or a Jesuit affiliate,
lawyer.
Notre Dame, and so he's advising. U.S.A. Gymnastics has a doctor who is raping hundreds of children. The IOC knows about it. The FBI knows about it. This guy from Notre Dame knows about it.
Michigan State coach.
What's her name, please, Howie? What? I know you.
Kathy Legas.
All right, and they to help these children that are being raped. U.S.A. Gymnastics, and the entire board resigned, but to help out these kids who are being raped, they bring on a guy from Notre Dame who is trying to stop USA Swimming from putting out, or Notre Dame itself from putting out literature that will help rape victims come forward and educate them. So that's how
or
the board,
prevent future ones.
Yes, yeah. So that's the help that USA Gymnastics
and
sought.
stonewalling rapes at his own university, potential rapes by star
Alleged rapes.
athletes.
Yep, and funny you should say that, because the same ESPN did a really good hour-long show, on maybe longer, about Michigan State University. And guess what? The same story. Basketball players, football players, raping women, young women on these campuses, and running into the same, they have a campus police organization. They have jurisdiction where you send your kids to school. Mm-hmm. So they decide who gets prosecuted. And guess what? If you're on the football team, you don't get prosecuted. At Notre Dame, at MSU, at Alabama, do you think it's any different in any college in the United States? It's not. Okay.
It wasn't the same at Penn State when I was there, because there were I believe a few players did get kicked off the team. And this is when I was there in the late 90s, early 2000s, or maybe right after. I would have to look it up. But, I mean, there was constant things of, we already know that the rape statistics, on college campuses. But, I mean,
what are they, Howard? I don't know what they are.
Oh, they say one in four.
They're rape factories.
One in four college, 1 in 4 women will be sexually assaulted in one form or another during their time in college. Yeah. 1 in 4.
And they start out, okay. Talk about grooming, okay. So you've got, let's just say USA Gymnastics. They advertise. They want your kids from 12 months old, 12 months. It's on their website. Go look at it. To 18, okay. So while they're there, they're getting raped. Okay, then they palm them off to a university, because intercollegiate sports, that's where you want to go. You want to go to the Olympics. Okay, so we have international organizations, you have schools, and they've groomed these children, and they're
doctor that the attending physician. I just want to say this, because I was listening to several of the victim impact statements, that many of the young women, they did not even realize what was happening to them. They were that young, 12 years old. They didn't even realize when he put his finger in their vagina what was happening to them. He explained it that it was some sort of acupuncture thing. And he would do it when there would be a mother sitting right there in the examining room. He would do it right there in front of her.
Wow.
Now, that takes some guts. And how many hundreds did he do it to? My goodness.
But his initial, this is all now, but before he already pled guilty to producing child pornography because he was raping a neighbor of his. I believe the girl was around 6 years old.
This is the culture that we're living in. Okay,
he already pled guilty to those charges,
It's got nothing to do with guts. They're cowards. Okay,
well,
but they are so secure in the culture that we live in that for years and years and years he wasn't getting caught. Nobody was.
Having been
let me tell you something.
In
some of
the
these
same
parents
position that the young girls have been in, I understand. You're like, what in the very world? Automatically, it's like your head goes into a different spot because it's traumatizing. Immediately, what is happening to you is traumatizing. And I'm sure that because child molesters and pedophiles, they understand the shock factor for a victim, and that will shut a child up many times. And obviously it did with Dr. Larry Nasser.
Right. Yeah. But all right. But getting sort of like transitioning into what happened in USA swimming. And once again, we're talking about the article is in outsideonline.com. So of course I didn't even know about outsideonline.com. And
me either.
I mean, why isn't the media picking up on people have to realize that they are going to try and put this all on Larry Nasser. Larry Nasser's the monster. Just like I said last week about I saw a tweet on Twitter that she'll sleep better tonight knowing that Larry Nasser is in prison. Like, Larry Nasser's the only one, and that's what they want everyone to think. Oh, we got him. We got him. Now we can just move on with our lives, even though this is happening in sports all over. So, right.
Yep. And people need to hear this. They need to hear this shit. And I'm gonna read a little more of this because this is an essay that Anna Strazemko, a swimmer, describing her coach raping her. Okay, this is what he said. Don't cry, Anna. Didn't you say I'm like a father to you? Smack, blood in her ear. You have all those boyfriends anyway. I want to keep you focused on swimming. Okay, she's 13. She's in a private discussion with her coach that was set up after nationals. Ripping pain, grunts that sound like the monster in a horror movie, blood, my hair pulled out, lying on the ground, the smell of fear. It smells like fresh chlorine and metal.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what's happening to your kids. So wake the fuck up. Anybody listening to this, please. That's what's going on. And this is one case. How many's in that article, Howie? Just that one article. And this is just USA Swimming. This isn't USA Gymnastics.
Well, USA. There was a follow-up article to that where of 108 people on USA Swimming's list of individuals banned from the sport, at least 90 were banned for sexual misconduct. Of those, more than 50 have been arrested, charged, convicted in connection with those crimes.
Half.
So this is right. So 108 people connected with USA Swimming have been banned from the sport. So at least they were doing something. At least they were banning people.
And I'm sure those 100 guys, they only had one victim, right?
Right, exactly. And I'm sure there's only 108. And they list that, in the second, in this sub article, they list. I mean, I'm gonna take the first guy. I'm just because he's first. I guess it's in alphabetical order. Charles Arabis, banned by USA Swimming, February 18th, 2003. Current status: release listed on the National Sex Offender Registry in 2002 while working as a coach for the Northern Arizona Swimming Association. Arabis was arrested and charged with abusing more than a half a dozen teenage girls. Half a dozen. Investigators discovered that he had moved to Arizona after being fired from another coaching job in Missouri, where three female divers had accused him of touching them inappropriately. In 2004, he was convicted on 5 counts of sexual abuse and 4 counts of sexual misconduct with a minor and sentenced to 10 years in prison. So this is just the first guy. Now, we're talking about 108 people that have been banned by USA Swimming, 90 for sexual misconduct. I guess sexual misconduct makes it sound a little bit better. But they're working with teenage girls. They're raping teenage girls. And if they're not raping, they're at least they're preying on them and they're finding out the most vulnerable. I mean, this is just, and we're now just USA Swimming. This article has been out there for 4 years. And unfortunately, unless you go to something called outsideonline.com, you're not going to hear about it. Everybody, Larry Nasser. Forget about it. Yes, it's horrific what he did. But it doesn't, for people that just are just sitting there like, oh, I feel so much better. The monster's gone. And then I'm saying like, well, gee, if this guy's doing it, maybe we should look into other sports where children are involved.
And what bothered me more, and I work out at the Y, okay? And what kept coming up in this article, YMCA, okay, 2008 YMCA Long Course National Championship, the Holyoke YMCA Vikings in Western Massachusetts, okay, YMCA. So we've got the International Olympic Committee, the FBI between 2015 and 2016, okay, and the YMCA that we've got Notre Dame University. I'm going to go into my local YMCA here and ask for the highest person I can talk to there and ask them what they're doing about this. So I'm going to show them this article and read it to them if I have to. And I want to know what the YMCA is doing about this, because it sounds like they're no different than U.S.A. Gymnastics, than U.S.A. Swimming, U.S.A. Figure Skating, the International Olympic Committee. Well, I've never, I'm in the Y all the time. I've never seen anything in there that brings any attention to this whatsoever, and I don't think it just stopped.
Well, I found this. It was from Indy Star. A 20-year toll. 368 gymnasts allege sexual exploitation. At least 368 gymnasts have alleged some form of sexual abuse at the hands of their coaches, gym owners, and other adults working in gymnastics. That's a rate of 1 every 20 days. And they estimate that that's an undercount.
Absolutely undercount. God.
And it says top officials at U.S.A. Gymnastics, one of the nation's most prominent Olympic organizations, failed to alert police to many allegations of sexual abuse that occurred on their watch and stashed complaints in files that have been kept secret.
Yeah, and just in this article, okay, so we go from the local level, the local YMCA, up to NCAA Division I, okay, up to the Olympic trials. And if you're telling me that these colleges and the International Olympic Committee and USA Swimming or Gymnastics or whatever doesn't know about this, you're crazy. And where is the outrage? How many kids right now haven't come forward? How many are going to be raped tomorrow or the next day? Because these pedophiles are still there. How could they clean this up? They haven't. We've got an obscure online article. Okay, you've got the Indy Star have done some good work. I'm going to try to get in touch with this Rachel Sturtz that wrote this article. I mean, where is the outrage? What are we doing with it? And all these because they want their kids to go to the Olympics and get into a good school. They're allowing them to be raped.
The parents are looking. I mean, it's coming down to that the parents are looking the other way. If you say parents were in the room with Larry Nassar and he was doing this stuff, or whatever the medium is, whether it's entertainment, sports, parents are so
No, in the Nassar case, the parents did not know because those were the victim impact statements, and
no, John was saying that they were in the room with her.
They were, and that's what the victim impact statements were saying.
So the parents don't realize that Larry Nassar is sticking his fingers inside of their children, and the parents don't think there's something wrong.
No. The one girl that really got to me was, she said the worst part was I had to tell my mom that she was in the room when he did it. She said the worst part of it all was I had to tell my mom she was in the room when he did it. And he did penetrate her. He did digitally penetrate her.
This girl, Anna, in this article, I mean, she's vaginally and anally raped by this fucking monster. And she walks out to the lobby where her mom's waiting, a self-described helicopter parent who was then 49. asked her subdued daughter why she wasn't more excited about the news of her Olympic prospects. What parent could not see that this is going on? I mean, this is just, I can't read any more of this article. I just can't. I mean, and this is one case of one sport.
We've got more sports, but there's
it's because it's only because it is just taking the pulse of what is happening with our children, not just in the United States, but around the world.
And this article has been out there for 4 years. And wait a second, and nobody thinks about it. And every 4 years they put on these Olympics, and they care about Michael Phelps, and he's coming to mind, obviously. But there's a few others. And we watch, and we're all excited. I mean, listen, it's a tremendous thing with these, and it's not even amateur athletics anymore. So we can throw that out the window. But I mean, basically, it's all about, it comes down, once again, it comes down to money. That sure, we don't rock the boat because of money. But I mean, I just want to like read this one excerpt from an expert that was involved in this article in Outside Online. And once again, it's been tweeted. John, I know we've tweeted it out from the Traffic report. I put it on Pedogate News, but her name is Celia Brackenridge. And she's a British expert on the sexual abuse of athletes. And her quote is, "I've been working on this topic since 1985, and we got through the denial in Europe. But the U.S. is absolutely the most resistant of any country I've worked with." An expert on the sexual abuse of athletes is saying that the United States, we are the most resistant of any country that she has worked with. And it's damn time, as the leaders of the world, to figure out what the hell is going on in this country that we are so resistant to figuring out what is going on in our amateur athletics and all athletics in general. And we know what it is. It's money and power and corporate greed. And people just keep.
Under those circumstances, yes, it is money. But what about, the teacher at your school and Uncle Joe,
Well,
it's beyond pandemic. I don't know what the word is.
Right.
It's beyond pandemic.
This woman, and please read this entire article. She had to tell her story to Al Jazeera. Okay.
Nobody else wanted it
to get it told.
Nobody wanted it for some reason. It's not news.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's not news worthy. I wonder why.
How many of them were told it's not newsworthy, and it's not even worth making a charge against or change schools?
Well, why would NBC? What do you think? NBC News is going to is going to report on this as they're about to spend billions of dollars signing a contract to broadcast the Olympics?
God.
I mean, once again, now we're just talking. We're just talking gymnastics, and and we've talked about the hashtag on Twitter, Gym Unsafe. Where we're talking about different levels.
Gym unsafe, pool unsafe, skating rink unsafe.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and thank God,
children unsafe.
We are making progress, because when you read this, I mean, it should be a primer, and it may be. I want to talk to the guy at TBI again, because from the police department right up, this officer, Jennifer Sattler, a detective, questioned Anna when she was 17, said in a report that Anna, who was traumatized by the experience of being questioned, displayed difficulty during this interview. Well, from what she's alleging, I mean, why would you even bother to write that in a report? So she's not being supported by the police department. The Massachusetts Department of Children and Families opened an investigation, but then they let this guy who raped her come in with a lawyer and not sustain the charges against the guy. He walked away from this because of the culture. There was no support from the police, the YMCA, the Department of, and it's not like we haven't, heard this over and over again. DCF is giving children right back to the molesters that are found. And I always go back to Neely's case in Florida.
I mean, everyone's always asking for proof of stuff. Like, what fucking more proof does anyone need at this point? Catherine just said,
and what child comes in
basically
to a police
anywhere
department
there's kids,
right?
Anywhere there's kids, anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Anywhere there's kids.
Anywhere there's kids. And for parents not to, oh, Coach so-and-so, he's such a nice guy and this and that. And I'm not saying he is or he isn't. But listen, as a middle-aged man, it's nice being around kids for a little bit of time. Anybody that wants to spend extended periods of time with other people's children.
Howard,
yes.
I really love you, but we are not going to use you as the measuring stick for what other people's tolerance for children should be.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I always said, I love children as long as there's someone. No, it's like I get to hang out with them, and I don't. You get all the good stuff. Blah, blah, blah. But I mean, just turning your children over to people that that take such an interest. I'm telling you, it's not. For me, I don't know if this is making sense, but anybody that, that guy that just loves being around children.
No,
sorry. That ship has sailed,
On a proactive note, Howard, let's don't leave our children with anyone else
unsupervised
until they can talk. That's a good rule of thumb.
Even after.
I don't care where it is. Don't take them to your church nursery. Don't take them anywhere that if they can't, as long as they can't talk. And I mean, I know that parents have to work and everything else, and so we know that parents have to work.
Right, and they feel bad. Right, they feel better leaving them. They don't want to be alone and all this other stuff. Listen, in 2018, children have a multitude of things going on. First and foremost, information overload. And let me tell you something, Catherine, as well as anybody, they prey on the weakest. It's not every single child that's involved in an athletic program is being sexually abused. However, they find the one that's having problems at home. We've seen it in the Catholic Church so many times. They always find. Yes, they always. It was in the.
That's why they call them predators.
Yes, exactly, and they don't prey on. They look around the herd and they find the weak one, the shy, the quiet, the one having problems at home. It was in the movie Spotlight where one of the children that was raped by a priest. The father had just passed away, and priest so and so had just showed up at the house, and took the boy under his wing, and these priests were like gods, in Boston at that time, and a priest would come to your house and spend time with you and drive around with you. I mean, oh, man.
Well, and I think these cases are all the statute of limitations on and these are rapes, okay? They're still in effect. And after Nassar, and I'm going to follow up with this woman who wrote the article, because this can be prosecuted. and it should be prosecuted. Just this one case, and how many more of them? But I think all these cases are going to get a very strong second look with what's going on in the society, and thank God.
So tweet, because the mainstream media won't pick this up. Let's get this article from written by a survivor, Rachel Sturtz, and she had to go to something called Outside Online, and we will get this out there. And please retweet it. Just retweet it. 108 people have been banned by USA Swimming. 90 of them. This is as of 2014 for sexual abuse of children. This is sexual abuse of children. 90. This is what they've come up with. This is what's verified. Think about how many. I mean, it's.
Well, there's a lot of conflict in the numbers here, because it says a 20-year-old, and this was January 31st, 2018, Indy Star, by Tim Evans. A 20-year-old, 368 gymnasts alleged sexual exploitation. So that doesn't coincide with other figures, I don't think.
Well,
there's a big conflict there.
Wait, you're talking about the Indy Star when? 2018?
This article was January 31st, 2018, and it says 368.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
368 gymnasts.
Listen,
this is gymnasts.
Right. Well, they want to keep it on Larry Nassar. They want to keep it. All right. It's hard. It's like, 150, and they want to keep it to Larry Nassar. They don't want people to start thinking about, like, that's what the media does. And that's what everybody else is doing. They're pushing, you're just Larry Nassar, instead of saying, like, okay, if Larry Nassar was doing it, who else is doing it? Let's take a deeper look. Let's do our job. Let's be the media. I mean, reporting on the guy in the courtroom, anybody can do that. I could do that with a cell phone and Periscope. But that's what they want to talk about. Their job is to, like, wait a second, are there other cases of this? Larry Nassar cannot be the only one. And who else knew about Larry Nassar?
Well, we have 3 minutes left, Howard. Let's say this as we're fixing to and challenge everyone to just dig for the cases where children are being harmed in your local area. Check Yahoo, check every avenue. What is the one that you were saying? Offline, Howard?
OutsideOnline.com. I just tweeted that article out, and all these articles are in the show notes.
It's on a basic internet search.
And this is part one. This is part one. Part two will be.
And even as we were talking, it just popped, because I did high school wrestling, and even during the show, I just went on and just wrestling popped into my mind, and we're talking basic internet searches. Wrestling coach arrested, wrestling coach sexual abuse. Do it, and what starts coming back at you. And let me tell you something. All very, very scary.
Part 2, Thursday. Join us.
Good night.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Howie. Thank you, everybody.